Weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. As you head through the remainder of the evening, the clouds are going to roll out of here. We'll have clear skies through the overnight and a low temperature getting pretty cold around 33 degrees. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving and it should be a wonderful day out there. We're expecting sunny skies with a high near 58 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Welcome back, everyone. We are here. We are live. It is Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. Man, it's almost 2024. What in the world? You're listening to the Scoreboard here on WSIC, 105.9, 100.7 FM, and always streaming the video live to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, our website, WSICnews.com. We're basically worldwide. I know. It's insane. We are worldwide. 704-873-1400. That is the phone number. If you have something you'd like to talk about, something on your mind, any pressing issues, anything like that, give me a call. We'll talk about it. Sports or not sports, it doesn't matter. Because right now, we're going to talk a little bit about the high school scene. Today is Wednesday, but on Friday, we have more high school football playoff games. And the reason we're going to talk about that today is, like I said, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. And it's a great day. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. I don't care about any of the other ones. Thanksgiving is the best. Good food, being around your family, friends, it's the best. I myself am an absolute fiend for the mashed potatoes. Keep them away from me, or I'm going to eat all of them. Gravy, no gravy, I don't care. Potatoes, give them to me. If there's leftover and you don't want leftover potatoes, pass them my way. I will finish them. It doesn't matter how much I ate because, man, the mashed potatoes at Thanksgiving, that's like number one. I don't even go for turkey first. I'm like, where are the mashed potatoes at? Where's the gravy? Come on, give it to me. I'm hungry. I will scoop my potatoes into my plate, and then I'll put my plate back for people to take from, and I'll just have the entire serving of potatoes. I want to know what you guys like. Turkey, stuffing, potatoes, something else. Ham? Or do you do ham on Thanksgiving? I know there's some people, I've heard some people say, and Pat Shannon told me this today, that they're skipping out on the turkey this year. They're going with ham. I feel like that's a sin almost. Man, skipping out on the turkey. So I hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving tomorrow. And then we won't have a show Thursday or Friday. And Friday is that high school football playoff, round number 4 for 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to lead off the show with that today. And we're going to go individually, one by one. We'll talk about who's playing on the west side of the bracket. We're not going to care too much about the east side of the bracket just because, well, we're not on the east side of the state. So starting off in 1A, we have number 1 seed Robbinsville taking on the 4 seed North Rowan, and the 2 seed Mount Airy taking on the 3 seed Eastern Randolph. 1A went chalk on the west side. It also almost went chalk on the east side. The only difference is a 13 seed made it through instead of the 4 seed, but that's how the 1A bracket looks. On to 2A here, you have Reedsville playing on Bunker Hill. That's also a 1 versus a 4. And then on the other side, Forest Hill, the 11 seed, taking on Shelby, the 7 seed. Forest Hill, last week they eliminated Community School of Davidson. That was a local team that was still in the playoffs, but unfortunately they got bounced last week. In the 3A bracket, another team that has bounced a local school here, Crest, the 1 seed. In the second round, they knocked out Statesville 28-16. While Crest takes on the 4 seed Dudley, and on the other side, the 2 seed Hickory Hickory, undefeated still on the year. Their last game of the regular season was against Statesville. That was a pretty big game for seeding. They came out on the winning end of that. They'd take on the 3 seed West Henderson. And finally, in the 4A with all of those big schools, the 1 seed Weddington taking on the 4 seed Grimsley. Reminder, Grimsley last week, they beat Huff High School. Huff High School, a little bit local here in our listening range. So they got knocked out. And then on the other side, the surprise of the tournament, I'd say, the surprise of all of the brackets, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4A, the 23 seed Independence in the 4th round of the playoffs. They take on Butler. Independence had a good regular season. I mean, they might be a 23 seed, but they went 10-3 in the regular season. They had 2 losses early in the year, and that was by a combined score of 15. And they also lost to Butler a little bit later in the year. So Independence, not a bad team this year. Just kind of with the seeding and how things worked out, they got a lesser draw, but they weren't really that much lesser of a team per se, which is why they've been making this incredible run into the 4th round. They take on the 6 seed Butler, and as I had just mentioned, late in the year, it was back in October, late October, that Butler beat Independence, the Independence Patriots, and that is a rematch to see who gets to go to the regional round, the Final 4 round of the 4A playoffs. So that's how your football playoffs will stack up for Friday. As a reminder, not only will there be high school action on Friday, there will be NFL action on Friday. For the first time ever, Black Friday football presented by Amazon. So you do have to have Amazon Prime to watch that one. It's between the Jets and the Dolphins. So an okay game. We get to watch Tim Boyle be the starter, I guess. That's kind of cool. See if he's any better than Zach Wilson. Because, boy, Zach Wilson getting benched. He's not even the 2nd string anymore. They put him back to 3rd string. They said, sit down. You're not coming back unless something insane happens. So just a reminder on that. Also on Friday, we do have some high school basketball games going on. I don't want to exclude the basketball scene. So Mooresville High School on Friday, they take on East Mecklenburg. That game at 1:30, and it's a home game for Mooresville. And Lake Norman, they also play on Friday, a home game for them at 7:30 against Caldwell Academy. Everybody else in the area has games next week. We'll make sure to cover those as we go through the week. Next week, too, West, North, South Iredell all have games next week, early next week, as well as Statesville High School. So we will talk about those more next week, as well as obviously wrapping up the 4th round of the high school football playoffs. We'll get into all of that on Monday. I don't want to leave that without being talked about because you know what? Even though there's no local teams right now in those high school football playoffs, it's still good to know who's doing good and shout out the schools and the players and the teams that advanced into the later rounds of the playoffs. We're already at our first break of the day. This show is going to fly by today. There's too much to talk about, and I'm going to do my best not to lose my mind in the next segment because we are going to talk about the college football rankings, and I'm just saying I might put a hole through this computer screen right in front of me. So, Justin, I'm sorry if you come into the studio at any point during the extended weekend and there's a big hole in this computer screen. It's because I got angry at college football and just had to let out a little anger by putting a hole in the screen. Stay with me. You may or may not see that when we return. You're listening to The Scoreboard on WSIC. We're back after this.
More of The Scoreboard with Joe Berg is coming up on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Happy Thanksgiving. From all of us at WSIC, we hope everyone is able to spend some time with those that they love. Join the Cornelius Parks and Rec Department this Saturday for the 12th annual Light Up Cornelius, presented by Novant Health from 4 to 7 p.m. in downtown Cornelius. Festivities will include holiday songs, train rides, a sledding hill, food and craft vendors, and a visit from Santa. See you Saturday! Want to see more than 5 million Christmas lights at one time? Speedway Christmas is back. Happening daily, the amazing Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway is happening now through January 7th. The show is open 6 to 10 p.m., rain or shine. The Infield Christmas Village is open Thursday through Sunday nights. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway, now through January 7th. For tickets, visit charlottemotorspeedway.com. Community singers of Lake Norman are performing again Christmas style. December 3rd in Mooresville, December 5th in Huntersville, and December 11th in Cornelius, each evening at a different church. 3 shows, 3 nights. Community singers of Lake Norman. For more info, visit lakenormansings.com. The Community Singers of Lake Norman. lakenormansings.com. The Docksiders, performing at Kane Center for the Arts on Saturday, December 9th, are almost sold out. The Docksiders will take you back to the year 1981. Their unique and electric tribute act of yacht rock features songs from Hall & Oates, Christopher Cross, Kenny Loggins, and more. The Docksiders, Saturday, December 9th at Kane Center for the Arts. To purchase your tickets, visit kanearts.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. As you head through the remainder of the evening, the clouds are going to roll out of here. We'll have clear skies through the overnight and a low temperature getting pretty cold around 33 degrees. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and it should be a wonderful day out there. We're expecting sunny skies with a high near 58 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Listen up, Carolinas. Lake Norman Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is open 7 a.m. on Black Friday with doorbuster deals on new vehicles starting at $19,995 while supplies last. I-77 exit 28, LakeNormanChrysler.com.
Fernhill Baptist Church is a traditional fundamental congregation located in Troutman. Hear them Sunday mornings at 8:15 here on WSIC. Listen on demand, WSICFM.com.
Your home for non-stop Christmas music.
You serious, Clark?
Starting at 12 a.m. Thanksgiving Day.
Now, more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, welcome back. Segment number 2 today on the Scoreboard. We got a lot to cover. We got college football, NFL, NHL action today. A lot going on, so we're going to get right back to it. I told you yesterday, I said, here's what's going to happen. We're going to sit around and we're going to talk here on the Scoreboard, and we're going to wait for these college football playoff rankings to come out. And 10 minutes after we get off air, the rankings are going to come out. Well, 10 minutes after we got off air yesterday, the rankings came out, just like I said they would. Terrible. And I'm not happy. I'm not. There's no reason to knock Florida State out of the top 4. Now, I know you could argue, Washington's just as deserving as the 4 seed as Florida State, plus they now have, a better quarterback. What kind of argument is that? A better quarter so that you're going to put, okay. You go into the NFL playoffs, right? And I don't know, let's just say a team that's on the edge of the playoffs right now. The Texans are in position to make the playoffs. But the NFL is like, you know what? You're a young team, you have a rookie quarterback. We don't want to see a rookie quarterback in the playoffs. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace you, Texans. You're not going to make the playoffs this year. We're going to replace you with the Bills just because that's, a little bit of a better team. Does that make any sense to you? Because that is exactly what happened in college football. Because Florida State lost their quarterback, the entire team got punished. I don't care how you try to spin this. You could tell me all you want. Washington's played better opponents all year. They've looked really good. They got a Heisman candidate on the team. They have their starting quarterback. Okay. But why now? Why do you have to flip it now? 3 days after the starting quarterback for Florida State goes down with a college career-ending injury. Because you are afraid that Florida State's not going to be good anymore? Why don't we let the games show us that? We've seen backups and third-string quarterbacks win national championship. It's happened. Remember Ohio State? Remember when Ohio State won with, I forget it, 12 gauge quarterback. Gosh, I forget his name. Anyway, this has happened before. We've had injuries and the team's still gone on to win a national championship. Cardale Jones, that's who I'm thinking of. Cardale Jones was a third stringer. Injuries to the quarterback position, and he ends up taking the team to win a national championship. What if the committee was like, you know what? Yeah, you got a third string. We're not even going to remotely put you near playoff contention or whatever it was back then. I don't remember. It might have been one team or two teams. So who is making these decisions? And why are these decisions being made? It doesn't make sense to me. There's no reason that the team should be punished because a player got hurt. And that is exactly what happened. And I'd love for somebody to tell me that that's not what happened. But the way I see it, 3 days after an injury, you knock them out of the playoffs, that seems pretty reactive to me. They had won the game 58-13. What, did you want them to win by 60? Would that have kept them in the top 4? The human element to the college football rankings is so outdated that we expand the playoffs to try and nullify that conversation, right? Well, guess what? Next year, we're going to have the same conversations just about different seeds. It's not going to be who should be 4 or 5. It's going to be who should be the 9 seed, who should be the 10 seed, or whatever it shakes out to. Here is the projected college football playoffs for 2023 if we had a 12-team playoff. The 12th team in right now would be Tulane. Why? Because they are the 5th ranked. I don't even know how they do it anymore. It's like if you're the 5th ranked division win or conference champion, then you have an automatic bid, but the first 4 gets by. Georgia, Florida State, Washington, and Ohio State would have the buys right now. Where's Michigan, you ask? Well, because Ohio State's in the Big Ten, and so is Michigan. Michigan gets bumped to the 5 seed. These conversations are going to continue to go on, and it's going to continue to be, what does the committee think? Nothing's going to change next year. We're going to have the same conversation, just about different seeds. And it's going to be confusing at first because you're going to say, what in the world? Why is the American Conference got an automatic bid to the play? Well, because of the rankings and because of the way they wanted to do the 12-team playoffs. Can we just go by, if you're going to expand to 12, can't we just go by records? You're telling me more than 12 teams are going to finish undefeated? Really? I don't think so. And if it does, you know what? Great. Then maybe we can have some human input into this. But the human element of college football rankings needs to go away. It is so outdated. And I'm seeing articles about, oh man, this is a great year. If only we had the 12-team playoff this year. If only we had it 20 years ago. What? It will never fail to amaze me the way that college football goes about their business. The NCAA, college football, the conferences, it's all a money grab. That's why they announced a 12-team playoff. They were like, you know what? We'll probably get more money from this. We're not going to think it through. We're just going to expand it and say, you know what? Here's how it works. Here, everybody, this fixes things. 12-team playoff. It's no longer the top 4. You don't have to worry about the big heads over at the college football committee determining whether or not you make the playoffs. Well, that's not necessarily true. Yes, if you win your conference, you get an automatic bid, but to an extent, gotta remember, it's to an extent, and then it goes from their rankings in order. So you have the Power 5 conferences. Obviously, they're going to have one team win that and be in. Then you have your 6th wild card conference. They get in. Right now, it's Tulane. They would be the wild ones in. I just don't get it. I don't know when this is going to change. It is changing, thankfully, though. And I know a lot of people who are traditionalists are not going to like this, especially it feels like college football is the most stuck on traditions. And I get it. You know, there's a lot of history with schools and rivalries and things like that. You don't have to lose that element of college football. You can still have rivalry week. You can still have these rivalries in state, out of state, in conference. It's possible to keep them, but can we think of a more legitimate way to rank these teams and to figure out who's in the playoffs? Because for years and years and years and forever, it was just someone determining. It was just a committee determining, okay, for the longest time, it was these two teams are going to play in the college football championship. And then it was these 4 teams are going to be in the playoffs. Now it's going to be these 6 teams have clinched their way in by winning their conference. But then from there on out, we get to decide who's in and who's out. It's going to change. Eventually, it is going to change. It's just going to take time. I wouldn't be worried if I was Michigan. You know, if there was a 12-team playoff, I wouldn't be worried. Even if I'm Ohio State, I wouldn't be worried. But with it only being a 4-team, and you guys are playing each other as the 2 and 3 seed, somebody's getting knocked out. Florida State's at 5 right now. They play Florida. It's rivalry week. Oregon at 6, they play Oregon State. If Oregon wins by a larger margin than Florida State, will Florida State get jumped again just because? Will Michigan or Ohio State get knocked out of the top 4 because they lost? These are problems. And I can't wait for the NCAA to fix these problems. There's great games on store for this weekend. On Friday, we have a really big one between Oregon and Oregon State. That's a 6 and a 16. Penn State playing Michigan State, not too crazy. TCU, Oklahoma, nothing too crazy there. And then on Saturday, we have the 2 and 3, Ohio State taking on Michigan. Alabama and Auburn, rivalry game. It's all rivalry games this week. Washington State, Florida State, Georgia Tech, South Carolina, Clemson, North Carolina taking on NC State. North Carolina fell out of the rankings again. Drake May having an interesting end to his college career. I cannot wait for things to change in college football. It needs to change, and the sooner it changes, the better. Let's go to our halftime break, if you will. You're listening to the Scoreboard here on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM. We're going to talk some football on the other side of the break, get you up to date with what's going on tomorrow, Friday, Sunday, and obviously Sunday night. And then we'll end the show with some hockey talk and maybe some basketball talk. Stay tuned. This is the Scoreboard on WSIC. We're back after this.
There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Get into Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville.
Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville. We've got the power buys, including a 2022 Chevrolet work truck. That's the long bed, record cab, two-wheel drive, V8 engine. These trucks range anywhere from 8,000 miles up to 15,000 miles. How much? $23,988. $23,988. Huge selection. Randy Marion Chevrolet of Statesville. Come see us today. Right on Gaither Road. Look for the spinning car, folks, because that is where the deals are.
King of Price. RandyMarionStatesville.com.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. As you head through the remainder of the evening, the clouds are going to roll out of here. We'll have clear skies through the overnight and a low temperature getting pretty cold, around 33 degrees. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and it should be a wonderful day out there. We're expecting sunny skies with a high near 58 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Interested in coaching? The Statesville Family YMCA is always in need of volunteer coaches. There are kids out there who depend on the YMCA to keep them on the right track. Email us at ymcasports@ymcanwnc.org to learn how you can coach basketball this winter. That email again is ymcasports@ymcanwnc.org. Fall is here, and Little Shavers has the supplies you need. Wheat straw, pine needle, grass seed, pelletized line, landscape edging, and railroad cross ties. Got a deck that needs staining? Little Shavers has PPG paints and stains at prices you can afford. Fall is a great time to replace your furnace filters at Little Shavers. Get the products you need at reasonable prices from Little Shavers, 3301 Salisbury Road in Statesville.
Hey everybody, it's Kathy, the GM at Stretch Zone. Practitioner-assisted stretching is beneficial to everyone. If you have lost the ability to perform the activities that you love the most, our programs can help you regain the lifestyle you once enjoyed. And your first visit is free. Visit Stretch Zone at 20545 Torrance Chapel Road in Cornelius and 591 River Highway in Mooresville.
Mention you heard about Stretch Zone on WSIC and get an additional free stretch with your program.
Hi folks, Pat Shannon inviting you to join me for the Home Ad Show. We help you sell things, buy things, celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, and have a lot of fun in the process. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11, here on News Talk WSIC.
So, who's going to win the presidency? Well, at this point, no one really knows. This is Todd Starnes inviting you to navigate the political waters with me weekdays, noon to 3 on your home for the best election coverage, WSIC.
Panthers offense continues to struggle, but Coach Frank Reich is largely staying the course and preaching patience as they look to get more going against Tennessee coming up on Sunday. I'm Jim Zoki with a Panthers update after this.
The only way to be your best self is with your best health. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before, so that you can enjoy more of the moments you love. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully with Atrium Health.
Panthers offense ranks 31st in yards this season at 267 per game. Also dead last in yards per play and passing yards per play. Coach Frank Reich says they can get things turned around with the staff and the players that they have in place.
I believe in our guys strongly. So players and coaches. And so, when it comes to players, you got 53 players. So sometimes you can, we're all one team. So one guy might play more, one guy might play less. But you believe in all those guys. And when it comes to the coaching staff, everybody you got one per position. So, feel great about the staff. We have to, we're always looking to get better, every coach, starting with me. Finding ways to get better.
Carolina has the worst record in the league at 1-9 as they head to Tennessee for a game this Sunday. Reich says they need to stick to their plan to get to the results they want moving forward.
My thoughts, this year are, hey, I got belief in our guys. Be patient, trust your guys. I think that's the biggest thing. You hired the people that you hired for a reason. You've seen evidence of good stuff. Stick with it. Stick with it and be patient.
I'm Jim Zoki on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network, presented by Morris Jenkins.
It's the Scoreboard with your host, Sports Director Joe Berg, on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right. We're back. Segment number 3. We're no longer talking about college football, and we made it through the segment without putting a hole in the computer screen. Yay! You're listening to the Scoreboard here on WSIC 105.9 100.7 FM. Call in 704-873-1400, and we can talk about whatever you like. I'm going to start talking about the NFL. We have football tomorrow. It is Thursday. Thursday night games are nothing new in the NFL. Every Thursday we have a game. It's usually terrible, but this week's even better because it's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving football, and 3 games slated for Thursday. Number 1 at 12:30, the Packers head to Detroit to take on the Lions. And I saw this about the Lions and their career games during Thanksgiving when a certain type of cloud is formed. Now I'm going to try and pronounce this. I don't think I'm going to get it right, but it's a waxing gibbous, or not the clouds, the moon. What am I talking about? A waxing gibbous moon. So the last time that this moon was out was in 2020, and the Lions lost. It's happened 20 times. Every time there's been a waxing gibbous moon on Thanksgiving when the Detroit Lions play, they have lost. I don't know if this is coincidence, but it goes all the way back to like the 60s. If you're a betting person, and I hope you're not because we're in North Carolina and you shouldn't be doing that. But put the mortgage on the Packers, huh? Yeah, why not? History says that bet would be in your favor. But the Lions are just so good this year that I'm pretty sure they're going to break that trend, especially being at home and against the Packers. Jordan Love, first year as a starter. He is not the best quarterback to come out of Green Bay here recently. You know, what a run they had, though, 25 years or something with excellence at quarterback. Join the rest of the league with having a bad stint. Second game of the day, the Commanders head to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Cowboys sitting at 7-3 this year. That loss against the Cardinals is like, what happened? How did you lose to the Cardinals? And then they got absolutely destroyed by the 49ers. Just a weird team, those Cowboys. That is one of the reasons why I don't consider them a favorite in the NFC. I still have the Eagles and 49ers as the top 2 teams in the NFC. I don't see anybody beating them. I feel like we're heading right for a rematch in the NFC Championship. Hopefully they'll have a quarterback, the 49ers, this time to compete. But that's where I feel like we're going with that. And then the night game on Thanksgiving, this is the good one. It is those 49ers heading to Seattle for a division game against the Seahawks. It's the only game of Thanksgiving where both teams have winning records. Niners 7-3, Seahawks 6-4. Very big game for playoff implications and things like that. Because when you look at the standings and the playoff picture that we have right now, Seattle is in, but they're not in by much. The Packers are right behind them, a couple games back. So, a win by the Packers on Thanksgiving and a loss by the Seahawks could be devastating. They'd be one game back then. The playoff picture in the NFC is a little bit weird compared to the AFC because there is a gap. The Vikings are the 7th team in. They are 6-5 right now. The first team out are the Green Bay Packers. They're 4-6. So a little bit of a gap in records there. Whereas comparing that to the AFC, Texans and Steelers 6-4, and then the Bills 6-5, Colts 5-5, Broncos 5-5. A lot more competitive over on that side. And we knew that would happen. We had a feeling that the AFC was going to be the class of the NFL again. Maybe just not in the way that it's turned out to be, because nobody has really shown that they are that dominant team. And it's even more wide open now with the Bengals losing Joe Burrow for the remainder of the year. But right now, the Ravens are the 1 seed in the AFC. Chiefs and Jaguars at 7-3. Dolphins and Browns also at 7-3, right behind them. So it's a close race in the AFC. Then we have our first ever Black Friday football game. I don't know if I like this or not. I like the time slot, 3 o'clock. I just don't know if Black Friday football is something that's going to catch on. I'm sure it will, because, it's the NFL and they're just going to keep doing it and people are going to keep watching. But it could be one of those games where it's like, why are we playing on Black Friday? Why? Like late in the NFL season where it's like, why are there 2 Saturday games? What is that all about? It might stick, but it might not be well received. Some pretty interesting games in the Sunday slate, by the way. A division game for the Panthers where they watch the Saints take on the Falcons. Saints 5-5, Falcons 4-6. That has some playoff implications right there. The Panthers themselves, dare I say it? The Panthers have a chance to win on Sunday. Like a legitimate chance against a team that's not very good. Panthers heading to Tennessee to take on the Titans, who sit at 7-3 right now. Titans are kind of locked into their own little race to the bottom of the NFL. They don't have the best pick right now. They're sitting at the 6th overall pick. But if they lose to the Panthers, that really helps their cause for a better pick. And like I've been saying about Carolina, they need to not embarrass themselves and have the worst record in the NFL, because if they just handed the number 1 overall pick to another team, it's not going to be received well, that's for sure. It really isn't. And I don't think people in the area are too happy with the season that we've had. And that anger will get a lot worse if the Panthers are in position for the number 1 overall pick, but the Bears own that draft pick. Without a number 1 wide receiver. I guess you could call Adam Thielen their number 1 wide receiver. Maybe just for this year. Maybe he comes back next year. He's old. He's 33 years old. But right now, when we look at the NFL draft order, and this is why that Panthers-Titans game is going to be an important one. Panthers are 1-9. We know that. They only have 1 win. But behind them, Arizona and New England have 2 wins between them. 2 wins each, I should say. Carolina win a game or 2 and jump those teams and not have the number 1 overall pick, that would be really big for the draft, because I am still not convinced the Cardinals want to stick with Kyler Murray. If they learned anything from the Bears with their Justin Fields experiment and trading the number 1 overall pick, hoping to get some talent around their quarterback, it didn't work for them. They are probably going to move on from Justin Fields this offseason. Kyler Murray coming off of that ACL injury, do they stick with him? Do they say, you know what? You had an ACL injury last year. This year's still kind of a recovery year. You missed about half the year. Let's stick with Kyler, trade away that early draft pick, get some draft capital, maybe a player or 2, and continue to rebuild the team. The Cardinals aren't a terrible team. They've been competitive for a lot of games this year. And it's weird sitting at 2-9 for them, because they started with Josh Dobbs as their quarterback. And yeah, he beat the Cowboys, and that was a really cool moment. But now they have Kyler Murray back, and maybe Kyler Murray wills that team to a few wins and really shakes up the draft order. We will recap everything on Monday. I know it's going to be a long show on Monday because we'll have so many days to talk about. But we got one more segment here on the Scoreboard today. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
More of The Scoreboard with Joe Berg is coming up on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Happy Thanksgiving. From all of us at WSIC, we hope everyone is able to spend some time with those that they love. Join the Cornelius Parks and Rec Department this Saturday for the 12th annual Light Up Cornelius, presented by Novant Health from 4 to 7 p.m. in downtown Cornelius. Festivities will include holiday songs, train rides, a sledding hill, food and craft vendors, and a visit from Santa. See you Saturday! Want to see more than 5 million Christmas lights at one time? Speedway Christmas is back. Happening daily, the amazing Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway is happening now through January 7th. The show is open 6 to 10 p.m., rain or shine. The Infield Christmas Village is open Thursday through Sunday nights. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway, now through January 7th. For tickets, visit charlottemotorspeedway.com. Community singers of Lake Norman are performing again Christmas style. December 3rd in Mooresville, December 5th in Huntersville, and December 11th in Cornelius, each evening at a different church. 3 shows, 3 nights. Community Singers of Lake Norman. For more info, visit lakenormansings.com. The Community Singers of Lake Norman. lakenormansings.com. The Docksiders, performing at Kane Center for the Arts on Saturday, December 9th, are almost sold out. The Docksiders will take you back to the year 1981. Their unique and electric tribute act of yacht rock features songs from Hall & Oates, Christopher Cross, Kenny Loggins, and more. The Docksiders, Saturday, December 9th at Kane Center for the Arts. To purchase your tickets, visit kanearts.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. As you head through the remainder of the evening, the clouds are going to roll out of here. We'll have clear skies through the overnight and a low temperature getting pretty cold around 33 degrees. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving and it should be a wonderful day out there. We're expecting sunny skies with a high near 58 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Happening now at Randy Marion Ford in Statesville.
Randy Marion in Statesville continues to grow. We have added Mitsubishi on Folger Drive. So what does that mean? That means great deals on a new make and model in Statesville, but it also means Ford Pre-Owned is moved right on Gateway Crossing Drive beside the Ford and Lincoln new car showrooms. So come see us today, Randy Marion Ford Lincoln, pre-owned vehicles, Gateway Crossing Drive.
RandyMarionFord.com.
Your home for non-stop Christmas music. Starting at 12 a.m. Thanksgiving Day.
Talk sports with Joe Berg. Call 844-STUDIO-4. It's The Scoreboard on the new 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Hey, final segment here before we get to Thanksgiving. Oh, man. There's like the conflicting ideas with Thanksgiving. Do you eat before the main meal and like get your stomach a little stretched out? Or do you fast beforehand? Now, I've always heard that if you fast beforehand, it like shrinks your stomach and you won't be able to eat as much. So keep eating. Just eat. And then eat a lot of turkey. And you know I'll be eating all those mashed potatoes. We have hockey tonight after yesterday. For some reason, the NHL said, you know what? Everybody gets a day off. Tuesday night, nothing going on in the NFL world. The NBA is still trying to get people to watch the in-season tournament. So, us hockey guys, we're just not going to play. Not going to market the game at all. Well, they're back in action tonight, and the Carolina Hurricanes, they have a game tonight against a struggling Edmonton Oilers team. Carolina 10-7-0 to start the year. Not the best record in the world, but they are on the positive side of 500 nonetheless. And for Edmonton, as they continue to try and figure out what this season is with a new head coach, they head to Carolina just looking to, get a win. But for Carolina, this is a huge game. every game this year is going to be big. You're going to hear me saying that a lot because they cannot fall behind in the Metro. It is going to be an 82-game race to see who can be the top 3 in the Metro. Maybe they get a wild card. I would think that one's going to come out of the Atlantic and one's going to come out of the Metro this year. But there is a strong possibility that both wild card teams in the NHL, for the East at least, come out of that Metro Conference. And Carolina, they need to keep winning to stay on top of that wild card because only the top 3 teams from the division make it. So you have 8 teams in the division. For any of you unfamiliar with hockey, it's kind of the same as other leagues. You know, you have the East and the West, two divisions in the East, 2 divisions in the West, top 3 from each automatically in the playoffs, then a wild card between the two wild cards. It's a mess. The NHL playoffs are the best, though. Compared to every other playoff, hockey is like all the way at the top. Football's up there. Football has some good playoffs, but it is not hockey playoffs. Game 7s in hockey, whoo! I can't wait. I'm already counting down to April to when we can start talking more about the NHL playoffs because, boy, oh boy, is it fun to see. So Carolina has their game tonight against Edmonton. Take a look at that one. Also playing tonight, the Charlotte Hornets. They are back at home taking on the Washington Wizards. That game is at 7 o'clock. And the in-season tournament was still going on yesterday. We actually had a team clinch their way in to the group, or I guess it would be the knockout stage. That being the Pacers and the Lakers. Both of those teams have clinched into the knockout stage. We're getting close to the knockout stage. I don't know if it's going to matter. Maybe the last 2 games, the semifinals and the finals, because they are going to be taking place in Las Vegas and it'll be a special thing, I guess. Side note, that has absolutely nothing to do with the in-season tournament. The fact that they are having the semifinals and finals take place in Las Vegas tells you all you need to know about expansion coming to the NBA. Be ready. You're going to have a Las Vegas basketball team. I know they already have, I think it's the Vegas Aces for the WNBA, but they're going to get an NBA team. They will. Just like they've gotten a football, hockey, and baseball team, the NBA is not far behind. Everybody is moving to Vegas. It's like another gold rush or something. So the Pacers and the Lakers are the first 2 teams to clinch. The Hornets still technically have a chance to make it, but it's not looking good. They're going to need a lot of help, and somehow everything has to fall their way. I don't think it will. I don't think it matters. They're a bad team anyway. When you look at the regular season standings, they're 13th out of 15 in the East. They have 2 wins to start the year. They are the second worst team in the NBA. The only team worse than them right now are the Detroit Pistons, and that's only because they've played 2 more games than the Hornets, so they have 2 more losses. That is the only reason. New ownership here in Charlotte for the Hornets, and it's going to take some time. It will. It's not a great team. Brandon Miller, the draft pick, he's been hurt on and off this year to start. Things have to come together. You got LaMelo Ball with his big contract. Not fully guaranteed, but it does have the chance to be a max contract for some reason. I don't know why they did that. But that's where we are in Hornets land. It's not pretty. I sincerely think we could be in danger of seeing the Hornets move again. Because does anybody go to see the Hornets? They're terrible. It reminds me of, maybe 5 or 6 years ago when the Hurricanes were not good. Maybe it was more like 7 years ago that they were bad. They've been a decent team for a while now. But there was all this talk that the Hurricanes were going to be moving out of Raleigh. They're going to get relocated. And then out of nowhere, well, kind of out of nowhere, some people knew they were going to be good. They started winning. And then they made the playoffs. And then they went to conference final games. And all of a sudden, the thought of moving the Hurricanes completely went away. The stands were full, and North Carolina became a hockey town for a while. That's what needs to happen to the Hornets. And if it doesn't, bye-bye. How many people are showing up to Hornets games? Have you looked at the stands when they play? It's not pretty. And why would people go? It's been a terrible franchise for the past decade, for the past forever. Since they've come back to since they've been around, the Bobcats were horrible. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll get to see a good basketball team in town. Some other things going on around the world of sports as we head into the final little bit here. There was a trade in the MLB. The Diamondbacks get Eugenio Suarez to fill a hole at third base. Oh, here was a good one. Did you see the report, or not report, but Drew Brees was on ESPN Radio Greeny's show, and he talked about his arm and throwing, and he says that he no longer throws with his right hand. When he plays football in the backyard with his kids, he throws with his left hand because the surgery all the way back from his shoulder injury in 2005, he's having major complications from that are starting to show up. And he says anytime he tries to lift his right arm above his head, it's just painful and tough. But the funny thing about it is, he said on the show, he says, if he could throw a football still with his right hand, he would have never retired. And this is after he punctured his lungs and broke 8 ribs in a game. That's a warrior right there. He won a Super Bowl though, so you know what? Walk away. Get that arm good and going. Another update, the New York Giants here. Quarterback Daniel Jones underwent successful surgery to repair the ACL tear in his right knee today. He's looking at 8 to 10 months of recovery. By the time he gets back, he's probably going to be a backup because, the Giants are bad. And unless Tommy DeVito goes on the most insane run that a quarterback has ever gone on, the Giants are going to be in pretty good position to draft a quarterback this year in the draft, which I don't think is out of the question for them. That's why when you look at the NFL order right now and the draft order and who's the worst team in the league, it's important to know who needs that quarterback, who needs a wide receiver. The Cardinals might decide, you know what? Marvin Harrison Jr. is a great player. Kyler Murray's pretty good. Let's pair those two up and see if we can make magic happen. It's a great prospect right there. So you need to look at the draft order and say, okay, who needs a quarterback and who might not take a quarterback? Patriots need a quarterback. The Bears need a quarterback. Giants need a quarterback. The Cardinals are the only one in that group that you can argue don't need one right now. But depending on where they end up in the NFL season, where their draft order is, if you have one of those franchise guys right in front of you, you might not want to pass up on that because who knows the next time that you're going to have that opportunity. Thanks, everyone, for rocking with me on this short week. It's been fun. Thanksgiving tomorrow. Christmas music on WSIC Thursday and Friday. And then on Monday, we're back to our regularly scheduled program. You'll have to hear me again. You'll have to hear Justin in the morning, McNeely at 11 o'clock. Sorry, you can't have the Christmas music forever. You've been listening to The Scoreboard here on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM. Have a good Thanksgiving. Everybody be safe over the holiday. And I'll talk to you on Monday. See ya.